Hi, I'm Angela, and this is my friend Jerry.
Hi.
Today, Jerry's going to teach us how to make red braised pork, or 红烧肉.
So this is a dish where we're using pork belly and then we're braising it in a mixture of soy sauce and a bunch of spices. What we're going to do with it is that while it's braising, it'll have all of the flavors go into the pork itself, and then the oils will be seeping out of the meat. Therefore, when we eat it, it's less greasy and it'll be more palatable. So what we'll need for this is some scallions, some ginger, star anise, bay leaf, and cinnamon.
Also, you'll need salt, soy sauce, dark soy sauce, cooking wine, and pork belly.
So we have 2 pieces of pork belly right here, and what we're going to do next is parboil it. Parboiling in that it won't be completely boiled, and the goal of this is so that we get all of the gunk out, like the remnant blood and all of the foam that'll come out later on. So I'm just going to put them in this pot right here, take some ginger and some scallions so that it helps get rid of like the fishy smells of meat, and then fill this up with water right here. So when you're filling up with water, you want to use cold water so that the pores go small, and then when you add it onto heat, as it heats up, the pores will slowly open and release all the gunk that's there. In addition to what we have in here, we'll also add some cooking wine. The cooking wine will help get rid of some fishy smells and also add some flavor too. And then we'll wait for it to boil.
So here's a little bit of the history about our dish. The practice of braising meat, making it tender and dark red in the process, is popular throughout southern and eastern China. The iconic red coloration can be achieved in a variety of ways. Dark soy sauce, fermented red bean paste, and caramelized sugar are all used for this depending on the recipe. The methods for cooking the ingredients fall into 2 categories: Hong Shao, like our recipe, which takes less than an hour of cooking time, and Lu, which takes several hours of slow cooking. Historically, pork has always been a very popular meat in Chinese cuisine. Some historians believe that wild boar were domesticated and eaten in China as far back as 10,000 years ago. For the majority of China's culinary history, pork was a delicacy, expensive and hard to acquire due to the cost of raising pigs. However, after popular grains used in livestock feed, such as corn, made their way into China thanks to the Columbian Exchange, pigs became much cheaper to raise, and pork became much cheaper to buy. Today, China consumes roughly half of all pork in the world, about 500 million pigs every year.
Now we take the meat off the stove, and we wash the pork in cold water to displace the hot water and gunk that Jerry was talking about earlier. Now we wash the meat in cold water to get rid of any excess gunk.
And so the next step, we're just going to cut this into smaller pieces so it's easier to cook and easier to put in your mouth as well. And so the next step is that we're going to start searing the meat so that it has a nice texture on the outside.
I'm gonna add
Then-
oil to the pot.
Yep. And that's good. So now we'll heat it up right here. And while we heat it up, we'll add in the ginger and the scallions so that all of the flavor will go into the oil here. So you hear the crackling, and so the next step would be to put the actual meat in there. So you go ahead, roll in. So while it's searing right now with the ginger and the scallion, we'll add a tiny bit of cooking wine. Now this is ready, nice and seared because of the coloration of the meat, as you can tell. If you really wanted, you could also go a bit longer until it's like golden brown, but you don't have to. Either way is fine. And what we're going to do next is we're going to fill this with water and sauces and spices for it to be braised. Next, we're just going to put in the sauces and the spices. What we're going to put here is dark soy sauce. And what dark soy sauce is just a really concentrated version of soy sauce. And it's a lot saltier, but at the same time, its main purpose is to add color to the meat. So you would never use this for like sushi or salad because it's very dark. So we just need to add a bit. And you could look at this. It turns pretty dark really quickly with just that tiny bit. In addition to that, we can't just add all of that because the flavoring won't be enough. So we'll add light soy sauce. Add a bit of light soy sauce. About that much should be good. And then we'll add a tiny bit of salt too.
And now for even more spice, we can add 1 large bay leaf, one clove of star anise, and a little bit of cinnamon.
Now that all the ingredients have been added, we're just going to put it back on, wait for it to boil, and then we'll come back to it when it boils. Yeah. So now it's boiling, and it's far from ready actually. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to need it to braise. So I'm going to add a chopstick here, put the lid on. This way it won't boil over. Well, at the same time, I'll turn the heat down a bit to medium, and I'll just let it braise, and all the flavor will go into it. This will take about 40 minutes or so, and then it'll be ready. Towards the end, we'll come back later, and I'll show you. We'll just turn the heat really high so that all the flavors get soaked in and more of the sauce is evaporated.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the spices used in our recipe. Cinnamon is known to have been used in cooking as far back as 2000 BC in Egypt, but Portuguese explorers reported finding cinnamon in Sri Lanka. However, a different kind of cinnamon that comes from a different species of tree is native to China and Vietnam. Either type works just fine in our recipe. Similar to cinnamon, there are multiple species of plants that bay leaves come from, with origins ranging from the Mediterranean to India to Indonesia. This helps to explain its popularity as a spice in foods from so many parts of the world. As for our recipe, we again believe that the species used does not matter, but the Indian or Indonesian bay leaves probably would have been used in the original recipe. Like the Chinese cinnamon tree, star anise is also native to China and Vietnam. This explains its popularity in many Asian dishes, including this one. While the plant originates from Eastern Europe, the name scallion is of Greek origin. Also known as green onions, this plant is a popular choice for adding flavor to dishes throughout Europe and Asia. Scallions are often confused with spring onions, which have a small bulb at the end of their stalks. It is important not to mix up these two varieties when buying your ingredients, as spring onions have a much more intense flavor to them, which may overpower the other spices in the dish. The final spice used in our recipe, ginger, has been an important part of Chinese cuisine for over 5,000 years and has retained its popularity throughout its history, even after ancient Buddhist dietary practices deemed it dirty and unfit for eating due to its strong smell and because it grows underground.
So now that our pork has been braising for 30 to 40 minutes, we're gonna take the lid off and turn our heat all the way up to high to let all of the liquid evaporate so that the meat absorbs all of the flavor in it. And at this point, you can stir the pork. Right now, this water level means that it's ready, and this coloration, the red coloring, where Hong Xiao Zhou gets its name because Hong means red, this all means that it's ready right now. So we can serve this over a bowl of rice, and you can add the liquid on top if you want to use it as a sauce. So this is an idea of what your final product will look like, and it is ready for you to consume and enjoy. Thanks for watching our video.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching our video.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.